find her. And she'd been having not hallucinations or anything, but not normal. And I couldn't find her. Went downstairs and looked in all the bedrooms in there, the whole place, and she wasn't around. And John Henry was there, and I had John Henry go up one way from our house, and I went down another way and covered the areas, and couldn't find her nowhere in the middle of it. And come home and looked and went into the back bedroom, and not where we went, not where we slept, not in our bedroom, but there was another bedroom on the other side. And I looked, and I don't know, I looked in that sliding door and looked in there, and there she was in there, sitting down on the floor inside the bedroom, and you know, it's the
closet,
coats and everything, so we're hanging down. She was sitting down there. I don't know what, can't remember what caused it. She was crying.
that would be depression, probably.
Yeah. And I remember, because we went up to, we had Dr., I've forgotten his name now, but we went to him all the time, you know, ever since we moved up there. And he couldn't find out, he couldn't figure out what was the matter with her. And they recommended to see this psychiatrist, and we went down there, went to see her, and she wanted her mom to take, what was it?
Valium?
What?
Is that what you was taking, Valium?
Yeah. And we went home, and at night I was reading a magazine about this gal that had hallucinations or whatever, you know, and she was taking this Valium, and what happened to her? I don't know whether she died or gotten her killed, but anyway, it was, oh, I think after she was taking it, she couldn't add coherently, you know, subtract from one thing or add from another thing. And Mom was just starting to take it, and we were in bed, and there was Saturday Evening Post or Collier's or one of the magazines, and it had a article that this would it would affect your brain, where you do weird things and so on. And so we didn't take that. We didn't continue the Valium and so forth. And I remember we went to the hospital, and they put her in a room. She stayed there for, I think, a night or maybe a couple of nights. But they we had her do menial tasks.
Mhm.
And I went back the next day, and she was in a little room with a small bed where she'd sleep. And I went in there and she was crying. And I said, "Come on, we'll go home." And yeah. And I guess the next thing was when she passed away.
Mm.
And I moved to Logan. Yeah, I went to the ward, and I usually come in, you get the same seat all the time when you go in there, went in. So I went just a couple streets down, a couple aisles down towards the front, and then sat in the
Pew?
well,
In the-
toward the middle of the seat of the row.
Mm-hmm.
And but the Marshalls, brother and sister Marshall, used to sit on the two as you come into the aisle. Those two seats on the aisle, they would sit there, and I'd be sitting over here. Like,
Mm-hmm.
and so Janelle comes, and they know Janelle, and they wave her on down, you know. And then instead of us moving all over, they get up and have Janelle go, and she can't sit anyplace else but along where I am. So we shared the songbook, and one thing led to another. And of course, she was a widow. Her husband died quite a little while ago, and she had her own house up here on Preston Street, and had her son and his family living there on the top floor. And I guess they rented out I'm not sure they rented out the basement or the lower floor or not. Anyway, after a couple of 3 Sundays or 4 Sundays going alongside there, we had to share the book and so forth. And so, I don't know. I guess, I don't know whether she invited me over for dinner. She might have. Yeah. Yeah. She invited me over for Sunday dinner with her folks.
Were you nervous?
Tribes.
Were you nervous?
Yeah, because she had a lot of kids, a lot of, you know, and yeah, it's okay for good food, and you know, I haven't eaten any food that wasn't too good, but yeah, and so then we kept sitting in the same seat and sharing the same book, and then I guess I think we went out to the Bluebirds for dinner or something. And then we went to the movies a couple times, and then of course she's in walking distance from where I am, so you know I just walk over to her, and so then we get some VCRs movies downstairs and watch the movies, and one thing led to another. It was good. She was nice. She's a nice girl, nice lady. Well, we dated quite a few times before popping the question, and I don't even know where we were when it happened. But I know we had gone down to Salt Lake a number of times to see the ice capades and all that kind of stuff, and we'd pull over in a nice dark part of And they led to another and another. And then we got thinking, I mean, both, she went, her husband was buried down in Ogden. And OJ?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And so she went down there and had a talk, and I went up here and had a talk. and it was positive. So then we, of course, we had the wedding in the chapel down there in the Relief Society room. And then we went out to California, La Jolla. Went out to La Jolla and spent about a week out there. Yes, that was the love of her life, was collecting dolls. And I don't know how many dolls she had, but beaucoup.
What got you interested in going to the temple first to begin with? To working at the temple? Or was it a calling?
Oh, it was a calling. Yeah, I was, it was early in the morning, and I got a call on the telephone. This is the secretary of the president, I've forgotten his name, of the temple. Could you come in and visit at 8 o'clock? Oh, yeah. Oh, boy. Yeah, okay. So I went up there, and he, what the heck was his name now? It's Johnson. I think it was Johnson, President Johnson. And so one of the ward members is his secretary, too. She's in our ward. In fact, they're still up here a long time. And so I go in and sit down, and he talks and explains things and so forth, and we'd like to call you to be a officiator of the temple. Oh boy, I wanted to say no, but I couldn't say no. Son of a gun. Yeah, that was, and as it turned out, it's the best calling. They're all good callings, but this was, and I guess I worked there for close to 14 years. It wasn't, hard as it was learning all that stuff, all the, gee, boy, how do you ever learn all that, you know? And I drive down, going over to Molly's and Craig's, you know, and I'll be talking to you know. But after it just comes, and it's good. It feels good, you know. It's real nice. And yeah, so I still go up there, get 2 sessions in each week.
Looking back over all of your life, what are some of the main things that you've learned from your experiences in life?
That you make mistakes.
That you make mistakes.
And you're not always right. And everybody is a different individual, and what works with one person don't work for another person. And so you lead the life that the Lord gives you, and be happy about it, and never mind what anybody else says.